I welcome those of you that watch the exciting game in Stillwater. The overtime win for Oklahoma State over Oklahoma in Bedlam here in Morgantown. Mark Neely along with Rich Savosic. Texas Tech and West Virginia. Still a 1-point lead. Kalichli just missed that free throw and hit his first 3 field goal attempts from the field. He's been the early offensive producer for Bob Huggins Mountaineers. Kalichli comes in averaging just under 8 points a game. He has shot 50% or better in 6 of his last 7 games, but the 52% free throw shooter misses both. But an offensive rebound for West Virginia, but they do so well. Hyde's trying to find Kalichli, but he's pushed in the back by Tolbert. And Jordan Tolbert from Texas Tech.
Fouls called on Texas Tech's number 32.
Mark, as we've seen thus far, there has been a concerted effort by West Virginia to pound the ball inside and try and take advantage of their size in the post.
The first foul on Tolbert, 4th team foul, and Tolbert able to disrupt that inbounds pass. The 3rd turnover for the Mountaineers. Here's Crockett. Jay Crockett, the best 6-man in the country, off the bench for Texas Tech. Crockett driving and scoring, and that's what he brings, Rich. Off the bench, energy and scoring.
Well, he's a 4-man that can step outside, and that becomes a tough matchup for Noreen as far as keeping him out of the paint off the dribble.
So a 7-0 run for Texas Tech, and they have claimed their first lead. Kalichli bounced it past where Brown was moving away from the sideline, and that's where the pass went, was towards the sideline. And West Virginia suddenly has been bitten by the turnover bug.
Watch the body check on the cut. And once that happens, it screws up the play. Now Kalichli doesn't know where to go, and it really started with a bump of a cutter by the defender.
Texas Tech has 4 field goals from 4 different scorers so far in this game. Gray's pass was a little high. Crockett kept it alive, and this is a jumper up from Williams, in, out, and then back in for Jamal Williams, the junior from Brooklyn.
Texas Tech has now weathered that early storm. They've handled the pressure, and now they've got West Virginia back on their heels.
Hines gets it to fall. That ends a drought for West Virginia. Pulls them back within 2. Williams. The open man in the corner launches short from Josh Gray. Tip. Another opportunity and a foul called on Eric Murray, who's going up for the block.
West Virginia foul call number 24, Eric Murray, his first, team second.
Murray picks up his first, just the 2nd team foul against West Virginia.
At the free throw line for
Murray, a junior transfer.
2 shots.
Jay Crockett, 78% free throw shooter. He's been the best free throw shooter for Texas Tech this year. Like, has been to the line, attempted, and made more free throws than any other Red Raider this year. As I say that, he misses the second long and hits 1 or 2. Now, before that last basket, Rich, for West Virginia, in the previous sequence, they've gone over 3 minutes without a field goal.
Well, Texas Tech has done a good job of making West Virginia play in a half court.
Murray trying to use his size advantage. Misses with the left hand. Boarded by Crockett. And Murray 6'10". Crockett listed at 6'7". Here comes Crockett down the lane, and then over comes Kalichli to block that into the seats.
Help side defense. Kalichli sees dribble penetration, comes over and erases the guard's mistake.
Kravich couldn't bank it in. Brown was trying to feed Kolichla, but that was Nurse who deflected it, and it's the 5th West Virginia turnover. Gray hesitates. Kravich. And one. Dejan Kravich with the bucket and the foul. He's going to shoot a free throw when we return. Attention stations, break 23 is next. To Gallagher-Iba, and they have the top team right now in the Big 12 with that win. They're 7th in a row. Oklahoma State's now 9-3 with a half-game lead over KU and K-State. Right now, Joe Lunardi has the top 6 teams in the conference going to the tournament. West Virginia right now is 7th in the conference. Rich, they seem like a long shot to make the tournament, but there is still a path for them, correct, to make it?
They have an opportunity. They have 7 games left. 4 of them are at home. They have some opportunities against some very good RPI teams if they can beat a couple of them. If they could end up 10-8, win a game in the tournament, the committee's going to have to think about it.
Besides the obvious way of winning the Big 12 tournament championship, which the final, by the way, is exactly a month from today at the Sprint Center in Kansas City. After the missed free throw, Kravich unable to complete the 3-point play. It stays a 5-point edge for Texas Tech.
I'm sorry, Mark. This has been a game of spurts. The first 4 minutes, Texas Tech has 4 turnovers. The last 4 minutes, West Virginia has 4 turnovers.
Hines throwing it up there. A 2-point attempt misses. Rolling loose towards the sideline and out of bounds to Tech.
Checking in for Texas Tech, number 20.
Just about 9 minutes gone in this one. And a look at West Virginia's remaining schedule. You know, after this game against Texas Tech, we mentioned there are 6 teams ahead of them in the Big 12. They get to play all 6 coming up.
Right now they have a 90 RPI, but you look at games against Kansas State, a couple of 20s. Oklahoma State, you have a chance to move up very quickly if you can get the job done.
Juwan Staten in the game for West Virginia. Skip pass to Henderson. Also, Dominic Rutledge in. Here's Rutledge. Tried to thread a dangerous pass, ill-advised. Tech does have it and get the steal. West Virginia just 1 field goal over the last 6 minutes. Jumper rattles off for Gray. 1 and done for Tech. Kolichla hit his first 3 from the field. He was the early bright spot in the West Virginia offense. Jumper by Henderson. That's a 3. Terry Henderson.
Mark, that's the first time West Virginia has swung the basketball and shifted the defense. That's the only way you're going to create some open looks.
Henderson's 3-point shooting percentage has been going up during conference play. There's a 3 missed by Todrick Gocher. Hines wanting to take it himself. It does generate the contact, and the 2 shots will come from the line.
2 possessions ago, West Virginia turns the ball over. The average fan is going to see it's the post guy turning it over. But here's the problem. There's no guard who comes out to the top of the key to give Rutledge a chance for an outlet. Your guards have to understand when the big guy has the ball with no dribble, the house is on fire. You got to go help him put it out.
And if the house is on fire, eventually the roof is on fire, and then all bets are off.
And that's exactly what we saw happen.
Well, Tech had a 5-point lead. That's been cut down to 1. Chris Walker, the interim head coach for Texas Tech, and his enthusiasm, his energy is certainly reflected in the team that they put on the floor.
Mark, as we both saw last night in their practice yesterday in preparation, they are enthusiastic, they work hard, And for a team that has only been rewarded with 9 wins, that just shows you the type of coaching job that he has done this year at Texas Tech.
Kid's not afraid to give up the body and dive on the floor like we just saw there. Tied up at possession arrow, keeping it with West Virginia. Too far. Tried to get it right back to Staten, who triggered the inbounds. Throw it out of bounds, their 7th turnover. Well, as the name might suggest, Phillips 66 is the proud sponsor of the Phillips 66 Big 12 Men's Basketball Championship. Both start with Phillips 66, and both stand for performance. Phillips 66, experts in gas since 1927. Away from the ball. Foul on West Virginia. Like Tolbert was grabbed.
West Virginia's number 14.
Gary Brown grabbed him. Second on Brown. 14 foul. Here's Brown, the sophomore from Puerto Rico, though, with the high school in Texas. Kravich's pass does find Tolbert, and then he travels. 5th Texas Tech turnover. There were the 4 really quick turnovers for Tech in this game, Rich. Then they had been better at protecting the ball, but turned it over there.
But that's not an atomic bomb turnover, because they don't get an easy run out, an easy chance for an opportunity. So in the scheme of things, it's not as bad.
Now another whistle away for the ball. Kravich,
Texas Tech foul.
his 2nd. So he's going to come out.
His 2nd.
Crockett will come right back for Texas Tech.
For the Red Raiders, number 30, Jay Crockett.
That's put up by Noreen. First shot attempt of the game from Noreen. Pass over the top. Crockett stripped. That help defense came over. Good play there by Jabari Hines. And 12 turnovers combined so far. 11 field goals. 6 for Tech, 5 field goals for West Virginia. Open look, Jamal Williams. And an offensive foul on the rebound attempt.
Offensive foul whistled on Texas Tech's number 32.
And Tolbert.
Second personal.
His 2nd. And that's a big call at the 8:22 mark. So Tolbert has 2.
Kevin Noreen.
Kravich with 2.
1 and the bonus.
And also Hannes with 2. So that's 3 Red Raiders already with 2 fouls.
Chris Walker has to make a decision. Does he try and keep Tolbert in and risk him picking up his 3rd with the game still tight, or does he pull him out?
So after the 17th foul against Tech, Noreen, just a 56% free throw shooter, does hit the front end of the 1-and-1. Short with the 2nd, though, rebounded by Jamal Williams. Tied at 15, a little over 8 minutes to go in the first half from Morgantown. Our 2nd tie of this game. Tolbert playing with 2 fouls. Big rainbow well off the right side. Staten almost had it hung up on his hip, and then Harris does commit the turnover. Timeout with 7:55 to go in this tie game, and we'll be right back after this message from your friends at Phillips 66. First half from Morgantown, West Virginia. You can log on to Big12Sports.com and check out Big 12 Network announcer blogs. And this week, my partner, Rich Savosic, talks about giving back. Want to give us a little more about giving back?
Well, fans think that coaches are just about coaching their team, but in the Big 12, all 10 of the coaches do an outstanding job of raising money for different foundations and charities, both locally and nationally. And For example, Coach Bob Huggins has started the Norma May Huggins Foundation for Cancer Research. His mother who passed away. And if you'd like to give, go to their website. You can click on the link and donate to the Norma May Huggins Foundation.
And more of that on your blog this week. Crockett trying to find somewhere to go with it. Can't do that anymore. Gray, 6th turnover for Tech. How many years ago was it they changed the rule?
They changed the rule about 3 years ago. That once you're in the air, you can no longer call timeout. I thought that was a good rule. I was kind of disappointed when they changed it. I think basically it bails out the officials to some degree.
Kalichla, who saved it here on the near sideline a few passes prior to that, puts it up and in. He had their first, hit his first 3 field goal attempts and have been quiet since then.
That was a play called out of the timeout. Well diagrammed, well executed.
Leaning in, Hannah's got it over the outstretched arm of Kalichla. With the rebound for Staten. Missed by Hines. 1 and done for West Virginia. Into the corner. Hannah's needed time to collect the pass. Gray nearly lost it as defender Hines fell down. Open man in the left corner. The 3 off from Crockett. It's been a game of runs. It was a 6-0 run for West Virginia early, then a 10-0 Tech run. Now it's a 7-0 West Virginia run. The backdoor cut for Hines. Back out. Harris short. Offensive board, Noreen. Going up. Kept alive by Kalichla after another miss. Second offensive rebound of the sequence for West Virginia. The drive, the kick, the pass, Hines. No on the 3. 3 attempts that time, though.
Good possession, good ball movement, got a couple of open looks, just couldn't knock them down.
Yeah, 3 tries. A trip down the floor for West Virginia. Could not score. Keeps it a 2-point game. Tech's now gone 6 minutes without a field goal. Williams looking. Shot clock's at 8. There was 6 on the shot clock. Hines reaches in and bails out Gray and Tech.
Got his hand caught in the cookie jar. Got to have a little bit more patience if you're Hines. You've got the offense exactly where you want him. He was going nowhere. He was going side to side. Don't bail him out.
Taken out by Williams for Texas Tech. They're down 2. 5:21 to go in the half. Tapsoba. Kadir Tapsoba.
Texas Tech going with basically 5 perimeter guys. Tapsoba, even though he's a big guy, more comfortable on the perimeter, space the floor.
Loose ball. Kept alive by Noreen, and now a 3 long from Harris. Kalichla back up. He's fouled. Another offensive rebound for West Virginia. That's what 4 offensive boards in the last 2 trips down the floor for them.
Kalichla is the definition of stick-to-itivity. He is relentless on the offensive glass, and he has a nose for the ball. And what I mean by that is he understands angles. The shot is taken from one side. It comes off on the other side 90% of the time. That's where he headed to get that offensive rebound.
Richland, 52% free throw shooter on the year coming into this game. 1 of 3 from the line after that make. Ten points for Kalichla. Came in averaging 8 points per game. The offensive rebound edge for West Virginia. A good number of those 7 have just come in the last minute or 2 of this game. Missed by Hannes. Staten. That's a deep 3 on the way and good for Aaron Harris. That's an impressive freshman there.
Mark, that was the first time that he caught the ball and didn't hesitate. Too many possessions today. He's thought about putting it on the floor before shooting. Catch it and shoot it, young man.
Harris had a big game at Texas Tech 2 weeks ago when he poured in 18. Staten crosses over, floats it up. The blocking foul is called on Tapsoba.
Texas Tech foul call number 12.
What you're going to see is a little dribble drive. It freezes the defense. Once Harris got his feet set and delivered.
Staten is 76% free throw shooter, 9th best in the Big 12, and that one goes around and out.
Josh Gray checks in for Texas Tech.
Staten has attempted and made more free throws than any other Mountaineer so far this season. And he misses both, but offensive board for Noreen, driving Harris, and he scores.
Harris is one of the few guys on this West Virginia roster who can score in bunches. If I'm Staten, I'm going back to Harris one more time next possession.
And that's 5 quick points for Harris, and now an official timeout. So we'll take a break. It may be something.
And we'll preview the Baylor at Kansas State game. That's on ESPNU. Martin, Coach Z, lots to talk about, and that's in a few minutes. See you then.
Doug, look forward to that. You know, Rich and I were sitting at dinner last night, and you mentioned, Rich said, who's going to win the conference in the regular season? And there's certainly a handful of teams that believe they can win it. It's not going to be the automatic coronation for Kansas for the 9th straight year that so many thought was going to happen just a few weeks ago.
Well, Oklahoma State is obviously the hottest team in the league right now. It's a dangerous game for Kansas. Poor timing if you're the Jayhawks, because Texas has Mick Kabongo back. The young man had 13 in his debut as Texas won the other night. So bad timing if you're a Jayhawk fan.
A 7-point lead for West Virginia. Tech only 1 field goal in the last 8 minutes. Williams, a jumper from the free throw line, helps at least curtail the drought. Right now the rebounding edge for West Virginia, 21-10. 8 offensive rebounds for West Virginia, but it goes out off the Mountaineers, and they turn it over for a 9th time. That's what has Bob Huggins shaking his head.
They have 9 turnovers, and for the most part, they've all been unforced. It negates that offensive rebounding advantage that they work so hard to get.
Crockett with a 17-footer. 18-footer miss, but long rebound taken off the floor by Staten. Henderson quickly launches a 3 in rhythm and hits it. Second 3 for Henderson today.
Those are the 2 freshmen that you need to keep an eye on for future days. Harris and Henderson. H squared.
Hannah's trying to respond. Can't. Knocked by Kravich, but out of bounds to West Virginia. Well, this one was in rhythm for Henderson.
It's poor communication on the defensive end by Tech. Forced because Kalichwa ran the floor. Hannes had to hold with him. Henderson gets the wide open 3.
Henderson, who's been shooting at 38% three-point percentage on the year, has really bumped that up to 47% in conference play. Backdoor cut. Then a collision. They're going to make that offensive on Staten as he barreled into Crockett.
Offensive foul whistled on West Virginia.
And you saw the officials take a look at one another. Keith Kimball was the official over on the far sideline. And then Rick Crawford on the baseline looked at one another, and they made it the offensive foul.
You can see. That's a tough call. That's a tough call. I think if I was the official, I would have bailed it out and just said turnover.
Well, Staten steals it back, and then a foul is called this time on Josh Gray.
Texas Tech foul on number 5.
But a Tech turnover.
His first. Team's 10th.
There's 7th.
How do you respond to adversity? You turn it over on the offensive end. Get it back on the defensive end. Staten doing a good job. Ball hawking.
A 29th steal for Staten this year. He leads West Virginia in that category. Staten connects on the first free throw. Staten, a transfer from Dayton. He is from that city in Ohio. There was a time earlier in the season when Bob Huggins basically benched Staten for a time and said, hey, he's got to learn how to play my way rather than his way. And Staten has been doing that.
And certainly it's a learning process. And he's a young man they have high expectations for. He's got to be the floor general. So sometimes you have to send a message as a coach.
12-2 run for West Virginia inside the last 2 minutes of the half. Then a stumble. And Noreen's called for a push.
West Virginia foul is called on number 34.
Crockett lost his balance. I don't know how much contact there was. We'll take a look.
This is a good job by Noreen. He does a nice job of moving his feet. He squares them off to the lane line, keeps his hands up. Tough call for the big guy.
Free throw line for Texas Tech.
17 fouls against West Virginia. Crockett hits the first. Jade Crockett, who has led Texas Tech in scoring 11 times this year. For a guy who's been their sixth man once again. As Soba comes back in. Kravich got some minutes there with 2 fouls and was able to stay at 2 fouls.
Crockett, the ultimate team player, went to Coach Walker early in the year when he was starting and said, hey, I feel more comfortable. I think I can help the team more coming off the bench, and he certainly has.
Crockett avoided the foul, but his teammate Tabsoba does not.
Texas Tech foul is called on number 12. Kadir Tabsoba, his second personal. Dennis Kalichla, free throw line for the
Kalichla to shoot 2 as West Virginia in the double bonus. Well, he missed his first couple of free throws today, Kalichla did. But
Mark, I got to tell you, the young man has a great stroke. It's hard to believe that he's only a 50% foul shooter, because he really does have a very good release. Nice stroke. And I jinx him.
But another offensive rebound for West Virginia. That one by Noreen. Staten. Henderson. And a Tech foul. With a minute 18 to play. 3 now on Kravich. He came right back in. I just said he was able to play with 2 fouls for a period. Went to the bench, comes off the bench, and does pick up his third.
At the free throw line with 2 shots.
Kalichla right back at the stripe where he's 3 of 6 today.
Tapsoba checks back in for Texas Tech.
Kravich to the bench with 3. Tapsoba, who has 2 fouls, has come back in for Tech. One and 2 for Kalichla, so he's continuing to hang around that 50% mark from the line, but he had a good day, 12 points. A 10-point edge for West Virginia. Crockett gets it to fall. 7 for Crockett off the bench. From the corner, a 3 is long from Aaron Harris. And a foul on the weak side. They're going to get hands on that. Going to go against Tech.
Texas Tech foul call number 30, Jay Crockett.
It goes on Crockett, his first.
Kevin Noreen.
It's going to put Noreen at the line for 2 shots. Let's take another look.
You can see Noreen heading to that opposite side. That's a good call. It wasn't on Hannah's, but that was a. Or was that on Crockett that they
That
called?
was on Crockett.
Okay.
Yeah, it kind of barreled across the lane. And
see, that's what young players have to understand. You have to go to the glass every single time Noreen forces that foul.
about a 13-second difference between the shot clock and the game clock. Splitting a couple of defenders, Gray. And Hannes can't handle the pass from Jamal Williams. And now West Virginia can hold it for the final shot. Bob Huggins, use it or lose it timeout, so he'll burn his first with 32 seconds to go in the first half. Kalichla had 3 early buckets for West Virginia, and he's kept that going. He has a dozen points.
They have not been able to deal with his size and his movement. You can see as he comes from the weak side, and then he cleans up the mess on the offensive rebound. Showed a little range. He knew that was going in. He backpedaled. Excellent movement without the basketball. Kalichla having a great first half.
Now 4 of 5 from the field, 4 of 8 from the line. Add those 6 rebounds, so he has a quarter of the 24 boards for West Virginia in this first half.
Mark, it's so important this time of year that your seniors are dialed in. When you have been up and down, as both teams have been, it's your seniors that can either carry you through or that can pull you down. Kalichla, back home today, has carried the Mountaineers.
So with the shot clock off, Mountaineers can hold it for the final shot of this first half. Trying to add to a 9-point lead.
Five seconds.
And he got the 5-second call, and now that's going to give Tech a chance with 10 seconds left in the half. 11th West Virginia turnover.
Good job by Gray on the ball. State spending too much time going east and west instead of north and south.
Hannes and Luke Adams checks in for Texas Tech. Down to 6 seconds. Gray fires it, and a jam by Tapsova to end the half for Tech.
Your halftime score.
Maybe a little turn in momentum there, Rich. Looked like West Virginia was going to get.
On the flip side, it was Jamal Williams for Texas Tech keeping him in the game. A 3, and then he gets a late dribble drive for a 2 to finish the first half.
Kalichla leading all scorers with a dozen points in that first half. Henderson off the bench with a couple of threes, 8 points for West Virginia. And Texas Tech, Jay Crockett off the bench with 7, leads Tech. Noticeable on the line score as well here, Rich, is that West Virginia's leading scorer, rebounder, and shot blocker, Eric Murray, came off the bench in the first half, played only 2 minutes, 0 for 1 from the field.
Well, if you play for Coach Huggins, you better perform in practice.
And West Virginia takes it away. The Red Raiders turn it over on their first possession after 8 first half turnovers for the Red Raiders. Here's Kalichla, who had the even dozen first half points. Jumper from the corner, Harris. Rebounded by Tolbert. Tolbert, Kalichla went down to the deck, but it's an open hand. But first, we get a foul underneath. When Williams came
Foul is called on West Virginia's number
in on Noreen.
Kevin Noreen picks up his second personal. first.
Second on Noreen. You'll see it coming right at you here.
Which looked like he had it. Little Academy Award on the foul, or the fall, I should say.
Kravitz with 3 fouls. Bodied up there with Kolichla, and it's short. And then he picks up his 4th. Not a good foul there from Kravitz. So he just takes a stroll right to the bench, and that's going to get Crockett into the game.
Kolichla does a good job of moving his feet and then walling him off on the defensive rebound. And Kravitz a little bit anxious, commits the foul.
No scoring yet in this second half from either team. We've seen a lot of that today. The players pick up their dribble and are looking and looking. That loose ball went right to Kolichla, who's unable to finish. And it's happened on both sides, Rich, where guys pick up the dribble and are looking around where to go with it next.
Well, the problem is, as we talked about in the first half, that if you're the point guard, you've got to come get the basketball. The play is now broken down. The house is on fire. You got to come with the hose and put it out and bail the post guy out.
Noreen with his 3rd goes to the bench. It's got Rutledge back in for the Mountaineers, and off the inbounds, Tolbert is fouled. And a lob right on the baseline inbounds pass to Tolbert.
That's his first personal.
Little screener action, and then Kolichla gets hung up. And Rutledge
2 shots.
Needed to go after the ball with 2 hands and probably would have avoided the foul.
Tolbert swishes the first free throw. West Virginia has picked up 3 team fouls in the first minute 38 of this second half. Tolbert short with the second. He's a 59% foul shooter and hits 1 of 2 there. His elbows got high there from Rutledge, but the defender Crockett backed off, and Harris connects on the 3. Gray, a 2 attempt is good, and then we get a push away from the ball. I think that's going to go on Tolbert, who pushed down Kolichla, but do count the bucket for Texas Tech.
On this last possession, this is set up because Harris is a screener first. He rush screens Kolichla's guy. His man has to help, and then Kolichla returns the favor.
On that last play, the foul did go on Tolbert, so that's his 3rd. So Tech has some players with some foul issues. Kravitz has 4, and now Tolbert with 3. And a travel committed.
Once again, Mark, Kolichla is reading the first cutter. Round from the weak side has got to come all the way out to the top of the key to give Kolichla an outlet.
Bullet pass underneath to Tolbert. Able to finish after the feed from Gocher. Texas Tech has pulled it down to 5. They trailed by 7 at the intermission. West Virginia led by as many as 10 in the first half. Tech did have a 5-point lead nearly midway through the first half of their own. Away from the ball.
Texas Tech.
Foul on Tech.
This is a good seal inside on the cross screen. You can see Hannes, who's a shooter. He sets the screen for Tolbert, and Tolbert able to catch it point blank at the rim.
Last foul on Gocher on the inbounds. Gary Brown is fouled.
Texas Tech foul called to number 5.
A bunch of fouls in this game. 27 combined now. 17 of those against Tech in the game. 4th team foul of the half against Tech.
Mark, as we start this second half, the officials are telling the guys, hey, we're going to call hands on bodies. Players have to adjust and start moving your feet. Keep your hands off the offensive player.
The officials have whistled 7 total fouls Just in the first 2:47 to begin this half. Brown, an 83% foul shooter, but missed the first. It was a 6-point lead for the Mountaineers. Gray got underneath. Missed by Tolbert. Another opportunity is put in by Jay Crockett. Crockett, the leading scorer for Texas Tech with 9 points. Kolichla trying to get the fourth on Tolbert. Kolichla gets it back from Rutledge. Loose ball. It was a clean play there by Texas Tech. Shot clock at 9. Kolichla trying to pick it up off the deck. And they're going to tie it up with 4 on the shot clock. Possession arrow will keep it with West Virginia.
Right there, Rutledge trying to make an unselfish play and a pass to Kolichla. What he's got to understand is the best pass is for him to shoot it at the rim. Get it up on the rim. Kolichla had offensive rebound position, so if he misses, Kolichla would have been there to clean up the mess. Sometimes players think it's unselfish to make that extra pass inside, but there's too many bodies squeezed in the paint. The basket's always open. Put it up there.
There's Murray in for Kolichla. Murray with only 2 minutes played in that first half. And only 1 shot attempt, 0 for 1. He did have a couple of fouls. So 2 fouls in 2 minutes in that first half for Murray. Well, the officials are calling it tight, no question. The players have not yet adjusted. Jamal Williams with the foul there.
You have 2 seconds on the shot clock. Don't make it easy on the official. He's standing right there, guy. Jamal Williams. Keep your hands to yourself.
So a fresh 35 on the shot clock for West Virginia after the foul. Harris. Pretty shot from the freshman from Indianapolis. Intercepted. Harris again has Brown with him, then fouled by Williams. Well, you can see why they really like freshman Aaron Harris.
He reads the passer's eyes. Jumps into the passing lane. Actually not a bad foul there.
Tech's going to use a timeout here, a full timeout. So we'll step aside as well in this 6-point game, and we'll be right back after this message from your friends at Phillips 66. With the exception of the bow tie and the basketball jersey. 6-point lead for the Mountaineers, and Kansas City's inaugural Big 12 5K Fun Run and Family Stroll is happening in conjunction with the Phillips 66 Big 12 Basketball Championship on Saturday, March 16th at 9 a.m. in downtown Kansas City. This 5K will be open to participants of all ages, and Phillips 66 will be providing $1,000 in free gas to the overall men's and women's winners in the 5K. For more information, go to kcbig12run.com. Glad to have you with us. Mark Neely along with Coach Rich Savosic from Morgantown, and missed by Rutledge on the chippy. Keeps it a 6-point game. Well, it was a collective groan from the Mountaineer fans who probably have seen too many similar type plays this year. Crockett, dangerous pass down low, but then Tolbert able to generate the foul.
West Virginia
and the foul will be on Murray. A timeout with 15:46 to go. West Virginia by 6.
Timeout.
Texas Tech still early in this second half. Big 12 play. You know, we're exactly a month away from the conference tournament final in Kansas City. And you look at the current crop of Big 12 coaches. You talk about guys with some impressive resumes. The Big 12's got them.
Well, you're not going to trick any of those guys when it comes to the Big 12 tournament. I mean, Bob Huggins, who's been to a couple of different Final Fours with 2 different programs. Lon Kruger, if Oklahoma makes The NCAA tournament will be the first coach in college basketball to have taken 5 different programs to the NCAA tournament.
Rick Barnes and Bill Self squaring off tonight in Lawrence. Game day there in Lawrence, Kansas today. And KU Texas at 9 Eastern, 8 Central Time on ESPN tonight. And of course, Texas had to rally back on January 19th at Austin to beat the Horns there 64-59.
Texas is a different team with Mick Kabanga back in the lineup. They knock off Iowa State in his debut game.
Brown looking for Kalichla, but coming over, getting a hand on it was Crockett, and a Texas Tech steal. Jumper. Good. In transition, Jamal Williams pulls Tech within 2.
Turnovers that lead to baskets. 13th turnover for West Virginia. This 16th point off turnovers for Texas Tech.
Yeah, points off turnovers today favoring Texas Tech with plays like this.
Well, they do a great job of spacing the floor. Williams runs to his favorite spot in that corner. The defense can't get there in time, and he buries it.
Bad news for Tech, though. Tolbert just picked up his 4th. And that will banish him to the bench just 5 minutes into the half. Have Soba back in for him, and you see Chris Walker saying, hey, man, we need you on the floor. So Kravitz out with 4. Tolbert with 4. There's a save on the missed free throw by Crockett.
West Virginia out of that timeout has switched into a little matchup zone. Got to know where the shooters are. You got to find Williams.
Williams not able to convert that time. That was for the lead for Tech on a 3-point attempt. Brown underneath Kalichla waiting, had it punched free by Tapsoba cleanly. Gray nearly got in the way of his own man Williams, and the jumper from the free throw line missed by Tapsoba. Another opportunity and a foul on Tech. Who are they getting there? Nope, West Virginia.
Gary Brown on the block out.
West Virginia foul is called number 14. Gary Brown picks up his 3rd.
3rd on Brown. Team foul number 5 of the half against the Mountaineers. So it'll be an inbounds play for Texas Tech. Hannah's long 3, and Texas Tech has taken the lead.
That's failure to pay attention to detail. Know that Hannah's is a shooter who doesn't put it on the floor. You got to make him dribble before he shoots it.
Kalichla barreling through, foul on the floor against Tech. Second made 3 of the game, though, for Hannah's, and a 7-0 run for Tech.
West Virginia went through this play in practice yesterday and today. And the point of emphasis was get through it, and Harris did. He trailed and be there on the catch to make Hannah's dribble. Harris comes up short. Hannah's makes him pay.
Front end of a 1-and-1 is hit by Kalichla. Well, as the name might suggest, Phillips 66 is the proud sponsor of the Phillips 66 Big 12 Men's Basketball Championship. Both start with Phillips 66 and both stand for performance. Phillips 66, experts in gas since 1927. West Virginia already in the bonus, and Kalichla hits 2. Give the Mountaineers back the lead. Hannah's again around and out.
West Virginia dodges a bullet. You don't leave the shooter wide open. Hannah's unable to deliver.
Kalichla, a little spin move, reversing and scoring. That's a nice move down low for Dennis Kalichla.
He is the best ambidextrous player in the country. The right-hander uses his left better than any post guy I've seen.
Screen from Tapso, but 9 to shoot. Dangerous pass, almost stolen by Brown. Hannes steps up with a 2. But the putback there for Jay Crockett. Crockett came flying through down the left side of the lane, untouched.
Well, Crockett understood that when Murray rotated over on the shooter, he had an opportunity. Took advantage of it.
Team high 11 for Crockett. Hannes went for the steal. Bounces to Murray, and now Kalichla again. Bodied up, Tapsoba. Gets him to fall down and lays it in. Kalichla having quite a game. 18 points. Came in averaging 8. Tapsoba from 15. Defensive rebound for Crockett. Williams. Crockett wanted to do it himself. Avoided the contact with Kalichla and kissed it in.
That's experience in action. A freshman Crockett would have ran over Kalichla, but he does an excellent job there with his body control pulling up.
Kalichla wanting to go at Tapsoba again. Spins baseline and a tough hook with the left hand. How about that?
Mark, at some point, Texas Tech has to understand they have to double him. He is too big and strong to single cover.
20 points for Kalichla. Crockett, a tough turnaround, and a Kalichla rebound, his 8th. With Kalichla nearing a double-double. Got to get it right back in the hands of Kalichla, don't you?
Oh, put him on a block and make Texas Tech double team. Create an advantage-disadvantage situation.
Kalichla in the post now, but the jumper goes up, and Murray couldn't get the putback the first or second time, but is fouled on the second attempt. But a timeout on the floor. What a day for Kalichla.
The big fella, if you come at him.
Second half on that last sequence for West Virginia, Eric Murray crashing hard the boards.
Well, this is the type of tenacity and energy level that the West Virginia staff has expected from Murray all season long. He has shown some signs of it, as he did on that last possession. But if they're to be successful in the last 7 games, he's going to have to increase those number of possessions where he has that type of stick-to-itivity.
Murray at the line as we come out of the timeout. 0 of 1 from the field. First free throw attempt of the game. He's a 71% foul shooter. One to 2 for Murray. The lead is 4 for West Virginia. In Texas Tech, Kravich out, 4 fouls. He picked the 4th up just over a minute into this second half, and Tolbert on the bench before. He picked that number 4 up about 5 minutes in to the second half.
West Virginia comes out of that timeout in a matchup zone. Got to know where Hannes is. Got to know where Adams is.
That's Luke Adams off the bench, number 13. He got a little time at the end of the first half, and he's fouled. Jabari Hines.
West Virginia foul called on number 4, Jamal.
Mark, that's the third time we've seen that today where somebody is stuck with no dribble. The offensive player can go nowhere, and a West Virginia player reaches in and bails him out.
Adams to the bench. They have Kravich back in playing with 4 fouls. And they keep it alive with, not sure if that was a lob or a shot. It was kind of screened from my angle.
Crockett doing an outstanding job on the offensive glass this second half.
Kravich, nice pass, and that's a jam for Jay Crockett.
It's a good read by Crockett, hiding in that short corner.
15 for Crockett. Murray fires it down low, and a quick pass found Aaron Harris. Laid it in. 12 for Harris. A little reach. That will be a foul on West Virginia. Let's take a look at our quick stats brought to you by La Quinta Inns and Suites.
You can see that West Virginia has a decided advantage at the free throw line, but they haven't been able to capitalize.
A rebounding edge big in the first half. Second half, Texas Tech.
Texas Tech with 6 offensive rebounds in the second half. It's been Jay Crockett all over the offensive glass.
Swish on the first attempt from Williams. Chris Walker trying to keep his team close here. Get it down near the end. Give that team a chance to win their 3rd conference game of the season. Tech has won a conference road game this year. It was their conference opener at TCU. Hannah's away from the ball. Wrapped up with Brown.
Texas Tech foul called on number 2.
Third on Hannah's.
His 3rd.
Hannah's asking when it was on me. What you didn't see in that camera angle is he had a handful of jersey as Brown was trying to make his cut.
West Virginia already in the double bonus, shooting 2 here. West Virginia won 3 of their last 4. A 3-game winning streak snapped in their last game at Baylor. Free throw there for Brown. 51-47 West Virginia. Just over 8.5 minutes remaining. Dusty Hannes. Kravich with 4 fouls. Defended by Kalichla. Spins and with the left hand around and out. Murray pulls down the rebound. Here comes Harris. He's going to pull up and shoot an 18-footer. Long rebound. Who touched it last? They say Kravich did. It stays with the Mountaineers.
Good hustle play by Harris. Shooter knows where the ball's going. Follow your shot. If you're a young player, Aaron Harris doing a good job of following it, giving West Virginia another possession.
8 minutes to go in Morgantown. West Virginia with the ball in a 4-point lead. Gary Brown thought he was going to shoot that and then spun back for Kalichla, and it's intercepted. Bray, the dribble got a little high, but he maintained it but missed the driving layup. Now West Virginia has some numbers here, and they give it to Hines. Jabari Hines lays it in. Timeout, Texas Tech. Chris Walker trying to stem the tide right here. A little run from West Virginia. Season high. He had 21 against Marshall on December 5th, and he's 2 points away from equaling a career high. He had 22 against Providence February of last year. Out of the Tech timeout, Red Raiders have 2 timeouts remaining. Luke Adams. Have Tolbert back in, playing with 4 fouls. Got it, and 1. Foul on Kolichla. So a timeout on the floor with 7:17 to go. Tech will have a chance for a 3-point play. We'll be right back after this message from your friends at Phillips 66. 53-49 West Virginia. A bit over 7 minutes to go in Morgantown. Let's take a look at our 6th man of the game. Brought to you by Motel 6. And this is a guy that could win 6-man just about every night.
James Crockett, one of the best players off the bench, not only in the Big 12, but in the country, because he scores in so many different ways. He scores off the dribble, underneath. He has 5 offensive rebounds, 5 steals. He's having a basketball digest type of night.
Basketball digest, nice. 6 of 10 from the field. Crockett, those 15 points lead Tech. There's Tolbert at the line trying to complete a 3-point play. And he knew he was going to miss it. Crockett going after the rebound, but it's scooped up by Murray. So for Tech, Tolbert's on the floor with 4 fouls. Brown the only one on the floor for West Virginia with any kind of foul trouble. He has 3. That's a jumper off for Hines. Out comes Jamal Williams.
West Virginia is showing another defensive look. Playing a little triangle and 2.
Gray has it swatted away by Murray. There'll be 9 on the shot clock.
Juwan Staten checks in for the Mountaineers.
Murray, one of the top shot blockers in the conference, came in 5th in the Big 12 with 35 blocks on the year and adds 1 there.
Dusty Hammonds checks in for Texas Tech.
Hannes comes in for Gocher.
And the out of bounds, West Virginia switches back to man-to-man.
Tolbert. That inbounds play has been a good one for Tech today.
10 points off of baseline out of bounds plays for Texas Tech. That is going to drive Coach Eric Martin for West Virginia crazy. It was his scout. He went over those plays.
Loose ball. We had a foul. Is that Tolbert or Brown? If it's Tolbert, it's his 5th. If it's Brown, it's his 4th. And Tolbert is just fouled out with 6:12 to go and up. Needing some help to get up. This is a tough loss for Tech now. Just kind of incidental.
Well, yeah, I'm not sure from that angle if what the foul was. What I'm going to assume the official called, what happened before the camera picked it up, was he was clearing Brown out to come off that screen or get through the screen. And you can see it. Oh, yeah, clearly. Brown sets the screen, and Tolbert is late coming across and just barrels through him.
So Tolbert fouls out of a game for the 2nd time this year, and he fouls out at the 6:12 mark of the 2nd half. Not able to collect himself after being shaken up. Drains the first. So how is Tech going to survive the rest of this one without Tolbert?
It's a huge loss. Tolbert had been one of the few Texas Tech guys who was able to score inside and neutralize West Virginia.
Brown, an excellent free throw shooter, hitting both to make it a 4-point game with just over 6 minutes left. Where will the points come from for Tech? Crockett's been a good source. He's been their leading scorer today with 15. Punched out. And a foul on Gray after giving it up. Our 40th foul called in this game today.
This is actually going to be a good foul after you see Murray poking it out. Gray runs Harris out of bounds. And had he not committed the foul, West Virginia would have had an easy basket.
2 shots for Harris. Harris, who became a starter on January 16th for West Virginia. Harris misses the second. He has scored in double figures now in 9 of his last 10 games, with 13 today.
As Tolbert out, you can look for more dribble penetration from Gray. Try and freeze the defense, create an advantage-disadvantage situation.
That's a 3 put up. Missed by Crockett. Now Crockett defending Murray, who gets around him, but then Crockett did commit the foul with the elbow.
Texas Tech foul call number 30, Jay Crockett, his third.
Number 3 on Crockett. And right back to the line goes West Virginia.
2 shots.
Shooting 2 more this time for Eric Murray. Well, West Virginia 20 of 34 from the line today as a team. And he missed both. That keeps Tech down 5, over 5 minutes remaining. Hannes gets the screen from Crockett. Shot clock at 9. Kalichla to push his second with 8 on the shot clock.
13, Dennis Kalichla, his second.
As we have seen way too often this afternoon, West Virginia bails out Texas Tech with 8 seconds on a shot clock. They commit a foul. It's not even on the basketball this time.
And it's Kravitz at the line. 1 and 1. And he hits the front end after the 19th foul against West Virginia.
When a team is struggling to score in the half court, as Texas Tech has been, you don't want to give them free throws in easy opportunities, and that's what West Virginia has done the last couple of minutes.
Kravitz been playing with 4 fouls since early in this second half. 1 of 2 there. That first free throw he hit his first point of the second half. Kalichla barreling in. Got it and one. That ball froze for a moment on the front rim and then took a back seat into the twine. And it's been a career day for Kalichla, who's now equaled his career high for points with 22 and will go to the line.
As I mentioned before, Kalichla is the best offhand player I have seen this year. And as he shows right there with the running left-hander this time.
Can't get the new career high, but they do have the offensive rebound by Gary Brown.
The 4th offensive rebound off a Kalichla missed free throw.
Kravitz just fouled out with 4:18 to go. No shot. So Tolbert fouled out at the 6:12 mark. Kravitz out at the 4:18 mark. Kravitz fouls out for his second time this year.
If you're West Virginia, just keep throwing it inside to Kalichla. If Texas Tech is not going to double team, he's got a chance to foul out the rest of the post players. By the end of the night, we're going to have Gray guarding Kalichla in the post.
It would be quite a mismatch with the 6'1" guy trying to go body up with Kalichla, who's listed at 6'9". Still needs one more to set a new career high for points. Tolbert there on the left is fouled out. Now Kravitz there on the right, number 11. There it is. Kalichla, new career high, 23 points. West Virginia by 7. Now Tech badly needs a bucket as we come up on the 4-minute mark. Williams. The shot, does it count? The official didn't even look at the shot. It went down. Doesn't look like they're going to count the bucket. Mountaineers by 7. They have a career high 23 from Dennis Kalichla in this game. Take a look at this last play.
Well, Gary Brown appears to have had it. The official thought that the feet were still moving, and Coach Huggins thought it was a charge. I will say this. Block, charge, whatever the call was, one thing the officials have been tonight, they've been consistent. They have called that a block all night long. Now, whether you think it's good or bad depends on if you're Coach Huggins or Coach Walker, but they have been consistent with that call.
It was the 4th foul on Brown, and it's Jamal Williams at the line, shooting 2, each team in the double bonus now. One of 2, but an offensive rebound for Crockett. Here's an open 3. Gray, no. Looked like Tabsoba was going to get another offensive rebound for Tech, but ran past it. West Virginia with a long pass to Harris. Kalichla tried to underhand it to Murray, but it's stolen.
Again, that's one you just got it. Murray's got weak side position. Get it up on the rim.
Taken away by Harris. Aaron Harris fouled. Crockett grabbed him to keep him from crashing harder into the base of the basket. And they are going to call flagrant foul on this.
Well, Harris reads it, jumps in front, and he just dips his eyes just enough to miss, to not make it a three-point play. They call the intentional foul on that because Crockett didn't make an attempt at the basketball.
He just grabbed him right away.
He grabs him really to save him at the end because he knew there was going to be contact. But the officials deemed that if you don't make a play on the ball, it's an intentional call.
So Harris will shoot the technical, and then West Virginia will get the ball back with 3:19 left. He's shooting the free throws on the flagrant. No technical assessed to the player, just the flagrant 1 foul.
It's the point of emphasis, the change in the terminology that came into play a couple of years ago.
But the end result is the same, and that's West Virginia does get the ball back, and they have the 8-point lead.
Mark, I can't help it. I'm old school. I still call it a technical.
Bounced into Kalichla, who then lost it, regathers it, punched away Crockett, loose ball, and regathered by Terry Henderson and the Mountaineers. Three minutes left. Glass touched by West Virginia.
It was actually a good pass by Murray. Staten made a great back cut, but doesn't look for the pass back.
17 West Virginia turnovers today. Again, Tech without Tolbert and Kravitz, who have each fouled out. You have Crockett on the floor, who has a team high 15. Add to that, make it 18. His first made 3 of the game. Big bucket for Tech. Make it a 5-point game. Murray, foul and 1. Crockett may have just fouled out of this game. Yep.
Crockett caught standing. Murray with an excellent ball cut. Crockett late, commits the foul.
So Crockett fouls out. He does have a double-double, his 7th double-double this year and 12th career, but
that's an even bigger loss than Tolbert, because he was a tough matchup for Murray. You saw in that last 3, Murray gave him so much room. So Texas Tech going to have to figure out a way to manufacture some points here in the last 2.5 minutes.
Kravitz, Crockett, and Tolbert had each fouled out only 1 time all year. They have each fouled out for a 2nd time this season today. Gray fouled with 2:20 remaining.
West Virginia
put him at the line
3,
for Staten, number 2.
Gray.
We're close to 50 total fouls called in this game. That's 48. He hits the first. Let's take a look at our Geico player of the game, and it's a career high today, scoring-wise, for Dennis Kalichla with 23 points.
Young man has been a force on the offensive glass, scoring in that low block. Texas Tech showing a little pressure after the made free throw. 2-2-1.
Harris got up in the air, is able to pass off Henderson. 2 minutes to go. Harris passed with off the hands of Murray, and they turn it over.
West Virginia timeout.
Today's Big 12 Network game is brought to you by Phillips 66, experts in gas since 1927. Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. And by Whataburger, proud to serve it hot and fresh 24 hours a day. Oh, the Jerry West statue outside the WVU Coliseum. Of course, he has his number retired here, as does Hot Rod Hundley. Right now, West Virginia is trying to win for the 4th time in their last 5 games. Pull to 500 in conference play at 6-6 and get over 500 overall on the year at 13-12 if they can hang on to this lead with 2 minutes to go.
So on the defensive end, they're going to have to keep Josh Gray in front of them. That's going to be the key here in the last 2 minutes. If they can force Josh Gray to shoot jump shots instead of getting in where he can drive and score or drive and kick to a teammate, that'll be a key as we go down the stretch.
Again for Tech, no Kravitz, no Tolbert, no Crockett, all have fouled out.
West Virginia showing a little matchup zone.
Shot from Dusty. Dusty Hannes from the left corner.
Big shot for the freshman. Texas Tech comes back into their own 2-3 zone.
West Virginia timeout.
West Virginia timeout. Let's check in with the studio with Doug Bell. Doug.
All right, guys, thank you so much. Earlier today, a terrific game. Bedlam, Oklahoma State wins in overtime, and now a half game up for first place, and Iowa State continues their great play at home, 14-0. Reed, the standings now, what do you think?
Well, I look at that Baylor-Kansas State game tonight, but boy, they're still jumbled up there at the top. This is going to be a big, important game if West Virginia can hang on to win. If not, boy, this is really going to separate them out.
And coming up next week, Texas Tech at Iowa State. Reed will be at the TCU-Kansas game. Studio 66 starts at 12:30 Central. Back out to Mark and Coach Z, guys.
Hey, Doug, thanks. There's Dusty Hannes, whose three has made this a one-possession game. Dusty Hannes is an interesting young man. He's a freshman, true freshman. Real name is Gerald Hannes III. His dad, Jerry, played in the major leagues with the Expos and Dodgers, and Dusty Baker was a major league teammate of his dad. Dusty Baker, who's now the manager of the Cincinnati Reds, is Dusty's godfather. That's why he goes by the nickname of Dusty. He had a huge shot the last sequence for Tech to make this a three-point game. Kalichla able to collect it and score. Tapsoba did get a hand on that. West Virginia's up 5.
West Virginia, even though Tech was running zone, they ran their man offense, got Kalichla on a duck in.
1 minute to play.
You got to have communication on the defensive end. You got to know where Hannes is.
Doubled in the corner right now, stripped of the ball, but it stays with Tech with 13 on the shot clock.
Gary Brown.
Mark, it's so important when you're playing zone defense that all 5 guys are talking. A guy like Dusty Hannes, who on his scouting report he's the shooter. So you got to have all 5 guys yelling. Number 2 is on the right. Number 2 is on the left, so that guys are looking for him. If somebody else buries a 3, you can live with it. But if their best shooter buries a 3, that's a no-no.
Tech trying to win just their second conference game, while West Virginia's trying to win their 6th. And here's still what's ahead for the Mountaineers. It's a long shot right now. They could get to the NCAA tournament without having to win the conference tournament.
Well, and the good news for Mountaineer fans is the teams like Kansas State, Oklahoma, they had them beat. They had Iowa State beat. So it's not like they're going to play teams where you're going to need a monumental effort to win.
And they played Kansas very tough here earlier in the season. And a chance to build on their resume if they can get some wins against teams with a high RPI, or low RPI as you look at it. Hannes off the inbounds. Got it! Hannes with another one, and it's a 2-point game.
No help from the post man on the screen. Again, you got to know who the shooter is.
About an 11-second difference between the shot clock and game clock here. West Virginia can wind this down. So about 15 seconds left, right?
Going to play it out right now.
Six to shoot. Staten defended well. Missed it. A chance for Tech. Timeout. They're going to use their final timeout with 9.5 seconds to go. Down 2. Well, Dusty Hannes has hit 4 threes in this game, but 2 big ones in the last couple of minutes.
Well, Hannes comes off the screen, and Murray doesn't show and help. Guard is late, Staten is late, and he buries it.
And then the last possession for West Virginia, I thought they were going to get the shot with just a second or 2 left on the shot clock to go.
Well, that was a good shot at the rim. You can't complain if you're West Virginia. You get all the way to the basket, you just can't convert it.
A reset. Possession arrow favors Tech. Both teams in the double bonus. Tech, no timeouts remaining. West Virginia does have 2.
If you're Texas Tech, you try and get something with Josh Gray going to the basket. Try and draw the foul, maybe get a layup. If you are West Virginia, you must understand you do not leave Hannes on the spread, so that if there's dribble penetration, you don't want the kick out to the shooter. Make your post guy come across and be the help defender.
But Texas Tech is doing this without Tolbert, Kravitz, and Crockett, who have all fouled out. Tolbert went first at the 6:12 mark of the second half. Then Kravitz at 4:18. Then Crockett went. They're all on the bench watching. Tech down 2 with the ball. 9.5 seconds left.
If you're Tech with those guys out, if you have a three-point opportunity, take it and go home.
Got to put it up. Gray for the win. Short. And West Virginia hangs on. Well, they didn't give